It's not possible for you to not get what you want. We just don't think you should have to croak in order to get your resistance to go away. That is extreme, but it works. But we don't think you should have to do that in order for your resistance to be away. You see? We really want to make that statement to anyone who wants anything that hasn't yet manifested. You got to stop being bent out of shape over the fact that the manifestation hasn't happened, because you're being uncomfortable about the fact that the manifestation hasn't happened is what's causing you to put all the stuff on the trail and preventing it from happening sooner. So imagine a world, or even a small cluster, or even 5 of you in a corner somewhere, in alignment with who you are, tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You've been laughing, you've been scratching, you've been having a good time, you've been feeling in love with life and with each other, and using each other as a point of rendezvous. Imagine being in alignment and then allowing the source within you to help you rendezvous here and here and here and here and here. Not one of you ever said to any other of you prior to coming into this experience, "You will be my only rendezvous." Every one of you knew that your dominant intention for rendezvous was with the source within you, and that once that alignment is consistently in place, that you will be inspired to behavior. You have not been off your track. You have not done anything wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. You are living life. Tragedies aren't happening. Things are happening. It's all in the way that you are choosing to look at it, you see. If you all are watching CNN or some of those news broadcasts where it is their sole intent to go around the world looking for trouble and then finding it, exaggerating it, tilting it, and putting dramatic music behind it, and then bringing it right into your living rooms, then you are inordinately aware of tragic and trauma around the world. And we know when it comes up close to you, sometimes it worries you, especially when you are with someone like us who is always saying you create your own reality. But if you create your own reality, then everybody else does too. And so you can't be the one that created their reality just because you know them. They created their own reality and you knew them. They created their own reality and you knew them. And you were not charged with the assignment of making it different for not one of them. You did come forth intending to tune into source so that through the power of your example, you could inspire others to want to find somehow that happy experience that you are finding. But you can't get sick enough to help sick get well, and you can't get poor enough to help poor become prosperous, and you cannot solve the problems of the world by focusing upon them. Just live your own life and let the source within you revel through you, and let the goosebumps indicate to you your alignment with source, and practice it enough that you're steady there, and then watch the inordinate number of good things that come your way, and leave everyone to create their own reality. And don't take credit or responsibility for anything that's happening to anyone else. And before you know it, you'll be clustering like you all are here with others who are somewhat like-minded, who are uplifters in nature, who are deliberately creating your own reality, who are finding your vibration on purpose, who are practicing yourself into the art of alignment and living happily ever after, but not stopping death, not preventing it in others, not interfering with anything else that anybody is doing, living your life the way you've intended to, and finding unconditional alignment with source. So we think it is really a wonderful gift when someone comes into your experience by your attraction, yes, who doesn't jump through hoops in order to present to you a conditional presentation that you can then have a good feeling response to. We think it's a wonderful thing when things happen around you that you have to adjust to, because otherwise you've got to have a very narrow band of merry friends that you are running around with, and then you got to control them because they're all freaks, you know. Helpful? So I have some questions for you. Do you believe that you have accepted feeling bad for the rest of your life as your, we don't want to use the word punishment, as your probability? Do you just believe that it is your lot in life, given everything that's happened, to just feel bad for the rest of your life? Do you believe that? Because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. Law of attraction is responding to the momentum that you've got going. But as you try a little bit and focus elsewhere a little bit, that momentum will subside. Our story, you've heard it if you've been listening to us at all. San Francisco car, top of the hill, take the brake off, take it out of gear. Esther wanted to just push it just a little bit to see what would happen. Jerry advised against it. He knew what would happen, and so did Esther, but she thought it would be fun. She was teasing him. Come on, let's just see. Let's just see. Well, you know what would happen. The momentum would take it right into the bay. So Esther thought, well, let's just let it go a little bit, and before it gets going, I'll just stand in front of it, and it'll bump up against me. Jerry didn't let her even get that far. But she knew she could stop it before it really got started. You always can, can't you? You can always stop momentum before it really gets started, but once it's really rolling, you don't want to stand down there at the bottom of the hill trying to stop a rolling car. So don't ask yourself to be able to do the impossible thing. Don't stand at the bottom of the hill trying to stop a rolling car. Catch it in the earlier stages, just a little bit at a time. And before you know it, law of attraction will be working for you. It always is. It feels like it's working against you. Sometimes you say, it feels like my thoughts are thinking me rather than that I'm thinking my thoughts. But that's just the momentum of law of attraction. You've all experienced it. Have you ever had something under your skin bugging you, and you really don't want to talk about it because it's negative, but then you spill the beans to someone, and then you think you feel relief because you've vented, but now the momentum is just getting going, and then you think of more things. Now you feel bad about saying it, so now you think of more things to support what you said. And now if they're patient enough to listen to you for a little while, now they got stuff they want to say too. Now you've really got this momentum going, and then you just sort of have to roll down the hill into the water, or have a good night's sleep, or meditate. You have to do something that helps you to release the direction of, or the momentum of. So when you say it's hard, we don't disagree. If you were to say it's not possible, we would not agree. If you were to say it's hard because law of attraction has hold of my practice thoughts, we would agree. If you say, but it can get easier because I can practice other thoughts, we would agree with that too. And so that's why we say, when you first awaken in the morning, while you slept, your momentum stopped. You didn't completely make the potential of the active vibration go away, but you have stopped the momentum. And when you wake up in the morning, you could start it in a different way if you cared enough about how you feel. Look at it this way. Without even really knowing about this, you did know that you wanted to feel good, and you did know that you are an uplifter and you wanted to be of value. And so you just sort of leaned that way, and it came fairly easily to you. So since you weren't challenged, you really didn't know how to develop your sea legs. So you weren't really conscientious about guiding your thoughts, because your thoughts were mostly just what you were observing. We started with that here today. So how would you describe your current state of being? For example, would you say, I now understand more clearly than ever before the importance of the direction of my thoughts. And I now understand more clearly than ever before that I have a guidance system that makes that pretty easy. I have a guidance system that could make that pretty easy. I have access to a guidance system that when I click into it, I know what to do. So it's accessing the guidance system. Last week we gave an analogy, and Esther's been laughing about it, talking to different people about it ever since. That for years, the analogy that we've given about alignment is, imagine a cork floating on the surface of the water, and you can hold it under the water, and let's call that negative emotion or lack of alignment. But when you let go of it, it floats right back up to the surface again. And so we've offered that for quite a while. And then recently we've been offering the analogy about the importance of hooking in, or being a vibrational match, or finding resonance with your source. And that not doing that would be like vacuuming your floor without plugging the vacuum cleaner in, going through the motions, and everyone could watch and say, good job, we see you're covering this entire floor, but you're really not accomplishing what you're setting out to accomplish. And then recently we offered another analogy which Esther really liked because the visual in her mind was so pleasing. So here's your vacuum cleaner, you, and because you do attract through sucking, and you want to be plugged in to that source energy. So your electrical cord is alive and headed for the outlet. It knows where it wants to be. It's natural that it be there, and it's going there. Unless you're swatting it out of the way, it will get there. Unless you're pulling it back, wait a minute. Your alignment is so natural. Your alignment will happen unless you do that thing that doesn't let it happen. Your alignment will happen unless you do that thing that doesn't let it happen. What is the only thing that you do that doesn't let it happen? You think thoughts in opposition. And when you do that, you feel negative emotion. So every time you feel negative emotion, it's like you're jerking that cord back. You're not letting it hook in, because as soon as it hooks in, you'll be fully empowered. So